Hi, I'm Madison Phillips. I am currently a third grade teacher at PD Elementary School. PD is located in Conway, South Carolina, and is home of the Busy Bees. It is a Title I school in the Horry County School District and serves around 860 students in grades child development through 5th grade. This school is home to me, as it is where I began my teaching career. Ever since I was a young girl, I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I loved children and getting to watch their minds grow and their love for all things, no matter how simple. Growing up, I always found myself participating in events and jobs that were children-centered. Whether it was coaching cheerleading and tumbling camps, leading the elementary grades at church on Sundays, or babysitting on my summers off, I knew working with children was for me. Participating in the Teacher Cadet program in high school sealed the deal and led me to my career today. After a very short time teaching, I knew I wanted the opportunity to make even more of an impact on children's lives, and therefore I decided to go back to school in hopes of one day becoming a school leader. My hope as a leader is to share the love and passion I have with other teachers in hopes of lighting a fire within them too. I want to be a principal that builds, sustains, and grows relationships amongst all stakeholders in my building and create a warm and welcoming environment and community. I want to be a principal that students see around the building, coming into classrooms to explore learning with them. I want to be a principal that creates a strong bond between my school and community and keeps involved in what is going on around our school. Throughout my internship with the Ed Leadership Program, I have learned so much about what makes a good leader. One place I have learned a lot is at my current internship school, Kingston Elementary. Similar to PD, Kingston is also a Title I school that serves approximately 450 students. This school is one that you can immediately sense the feel of family when you step in the front doors. Dr. Dawn Brooks and the Kingston team opened their arms and welcomed me in and taught me so much that I plan to use in my future endeavors. Hey, I'm Madison Phillips, and this is my ELCC Standard 5 presentation. My internship school was Kingston Elementary, and it was an amazing experience. In regards to ethical standards and practice and managing discipline, I must always make sure to treat all children equally and fairly, regardless of their gender and race. All children must be given due process in each discipline scenario. I must always make sure to remain unbiased at all times in respect to all parties involved, and must remain consistent and handle each situation based solely on the facts that are presented and off school and district policies. I must practice being a reflective practitioner. That is so important in leadership. Taking what you learn from each situation and learning from it, growing from it, and applying it and what you can do better the next time. Having that growth mindset is super important as a leader. Also, with ethical standards and practice in school improvement, I must make sure to first and foremost keep every decision that I make student-centered with the student's best interest in the forefront of my mind. Then I must also make sure I consider how it's going to affect my staff members, my teachers, because they ultimately are the ones taking care of my kids. So I've also got to make sure I take good care of them. Keeping all stakeholders informed and involved in school improvement processes and remaining transparent in changes is very, very important. A leadership decision that I had to make pretty quickly was what to do for a family night during COVID-19. And this was a decision that was kind of thrown on me quickly. They had always done it the same way that even PD does, inside, lots of different activities, fellowship, food. But unfortunately with COVID, we couldn't do that this year with having to socially distance. So I really wasn't given much idea of how they wanted me to do it, but I just went with it. And I had heard of other people starting to put together drive-through family nights, and I did, and it was a whole lot of work, but it was so worth it at the end. All the parents, the students, the teachers really had a great time, and it was a great experience. I put my students and staff and parents' best interests in the forefront of my mind with this decision. Students and parents still deserve to have this opportunity, this family night. Teachers deserve this to be an easy process to kind of just jump in and do the night of. And have everything set up for them, and everyone must still remain safe and socially distanced, and that's what this project allowed me to do. And during this, I made sure to keep all stakeholders obviously involved throughout the process, and that was really helpful because they just trusted me to do what was best because I kept them up to date with everything. It turned out really good. Another story time. I'll keep this one short and sweet because it's a little graphic. But this discipline referral was kind of something crazy to be thrown in for the first time, but it just happened to be what came up. A third grade student ran into a fourth grader in the third grade bathroom, and he was using his body inappropriately for his own pleasure. And it was interesting, but it's great to be thrown in at first, because you had to make sure it was really tough to remain professional. And let me explain that a little bit. I could definitely remain professional, but I just mean as in like how to word things was difficult with this one because the parent just kind of thought it was funny and understandable, and he was asking more about it, and it was hard to be descriptive without not being professional, like using unprofessional wording for the situation. But it was good. I learned that even after years of experience, you should always still, in difficult situations that might come up with legal and moral consequences, that you consult with another leadership member. And that's exactly what Ms. Sanders did. She knew this was a situation that she did not want to sit in on by herself, let alone me, and that she wanted to include Dr. Brooks in the situation. So all three of us handled this. Therefore, you had more people to state what had actually been said, and to back up things. Next time I will ask the reporting teacher to include the time of the incident in her report, because whenever we went back to look at the footage, it was really hard to find when it happened. So having a time in that would be good. I definitely self-reflected during this incident. It will definitely help me realize how to better handle situations in the future. Decisions and ethical practices in leadership. Kingston does an excellent job at making leadership decisions ethically and with their students and staff members' best interests in mind. I watched the leadership team talk through quite a few tough incidences and situations, and each time they just constantly kept consulting with each other and discussing all the sides of the different situations, and how it would affect each different person. And that is just so clear. It's so important. Communication with every stakeholder is important. Decisions should always be student-centered, and you need to always keep bias and personal opinions out of decision-making. Legal consequences and decision-making. Kind of similar to the situation that I was put in for my behavioral situation. Every tough decision that is made as a building level leader can always have moral and legal consequences. Moral and legal consequences are put there for a reason, to help keep people from making decisions without putting much thought into them, biasly, not considering every stakeholder. They're there for a reason, and I'm glad that we have them. In order for building level leaders to keep themselves safe from moral and legal consequences, you must always stay unbiased, practice consistency. Students and staff's best interests must be at the forefront of your mind. You must recognize students with their IEPs, their 504 plans, their rights, and give them due process. In relation to school and district policies and procedures, you have to keep those in mind whenever you're making decisions. Go back to them, check them over, make sure that you're doing exactly what the district stated. And you also need to make sure you're getting guidance and consulting from other leaders within the building, kind of like Ms. Sanders did with our situation. Kingston's school academic and management policies and procedures. Oh, sorry. Here is a quote that I got from Kingston's student and parent handbook. Kingston Elementary School does not discriminate on the basis of race, religion, color, national origin, sex, disability, age, immigrant status, English speaking status, or any other characteristics protected by applicable federal or South Carolina law. That is a mouthful, but it really encompasses everything, and it's definitely something that we want parents to know, that we keep at the forefront of our mind. Kingston displays all these policies and procedures, like grading policies, discipline policies, things like that, in the parent-student handbook. Kingston is a PBIS school, and that's positive behavior intervention support. So instead of always giving negative consequences, giving positive reinforcement instead. And that's within the classroom and in the front office. Class makeups are created very carefully, reviewing academic and behavioral records in attempts to make balanced classrooms. Relationships amongst staff members, teachers, leadership members, and students are cherished and put in the forefront of Kingston's daily work, and therefore the students are more willing to work and act in a respectful manner. Kingston Elementary School's policies, programs, and practices. Once again, Kingston Elementary School handles each situation that arises with clear expectations that are laid out in the teacher, parent, and student handbooks. All situations are handled with consistency, fairness, and understanding. All stakeholders that are involved are treated with respect, and students are given due process as well as full confidentiality in each disciplinary situation. All students are respected and accepted within the school. Kingston works hard to build those relationships with their stakeholders and make sure that there's a sense of community within the school, and it definitely shows. Kingston also works really hard in their practices and programs to make sure that the needs of every whole child is met. So that whole child, like not just academically, but is the student coming to school hungry? Is the student coming to school not clothed or not clothed right, or with shoes that are too tight? Those kinds of things. If the whole child is not being met, they're not going to perform for you academically or behaviorally like you want them to, or like they need to. So we have some practices in place to help with that: backpack buddies, clothes closet, guidance counseling, things like that. Resiliency. I found this really cool quote that makes me think of resiliency. I try to remind myself of it every day, because even as a teacher, tough situations come up, and I don't get to get everything done that I want to. Sometimes I have to give up some of the things that I really need to get done to handle something that is not something that I want to do right now, but is a tough situation. So I try to remind myself, when you bend with the wind, but don't break in the storm. It's so important to make sure that you are resilient and you can take changes as they happen and bend with them, but don't snap. You got to keep right on going. In attempts to that, I am going to try to remember to always do what is best for children when I'm faced with difficult decisions, handle each situation with respect, consistency, and equity, be a reflective practitioner, and never stop learning, improving, and growing, and to work to build, sustain, and grow lasting relationships within my school, community, and all stakeholders. My next action steps, another cool quote. Never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. So true. I feel like I learn something every day, and if I am not paying attention to what life is trying to teach me, I am wasting my time, and I am sure wasting life's time, because I have had lots of things I can learn each day from situations that I've been put in as a teacher and as a leader. So in attempts to keep learning and growing, I hope to attend a conference or a training on discipline management in order to better handle more complex situations that might arise in my future leadership roles. I hope to also sit in on more IEP and 504 conferences. I had the opportunity to do a little bit more of that this year. This is only my third year, but I ended up co-teaching this year, so I had a special ed teacher in my room at all times, and therefore we had like a 71% sped rate in our class, so we had a lot of more IEPs. And I got to learn a lot more about how those work, how those are created, all the different facets of them, the different services that different children can get. So I did learn a lot with that this year, and being in this internship as well. But I would still like to learn a little bit more about that and be a little bit more familiar with how those are created and what kind of services can be put in place for different children. And lastly, I'd love to offer my help to my leadership team with large-scale or important upcoming projects and events in order to continuously grow even after this internship opportunity. So I want to make sure that my leadership team at PD knows that even though I'm done with my internship, or I'm very close to being done with my program, that I am still available to help in any way that I can. If they need an extra idea or an extra set of hands, or they think it's a great opportunity for me to partake in hopefully growing my leadership qualities, then I would love to participate in that. So I want to make sure that they know that I'm there and that I am so willing to help in any way that I can. So yeah, that's my project. I'm so sorry I kept you so long. It's just, I've learned so much this semester, and it's been a pleasure with being with my two internship schools. PD and Kingston have opened their arms to me and have been so welcoming and taught me so much, and I really appreciate everything that they've done for me. So I wanted to make sure that I shared everything that I learned. So thank you, Dr. H, and I will see you soon, maybe virtually. Thanks.